My boss was sleeping with my wife, so I didn't fight him, I destroyed him. This story came from a man in Houston, Texas. What he did was cold, calculated, and completely legal. These are his words. I'm Marcus, 38 years old, senior accountant at a tech firm, married to Jessica for 7 years. My boss, Richard, was 42, VP of finance, drove a black Porsche, always wore expensive suits, always talked down to people. I never liked him, but I respected the position. That changed on a Tuesday afternoon. I left work early. Migraine, couldn't stare at spreadsheets anymore. I pulled into my driveway around 2 p.m. and I saw it, a black Porsche, parked in front of my house. I sat in my car for a minute, staring at it, trying to convince myself there was an explanation. Maybe he was dropping something off. Maybe Jessica needed help with something, but I knew. I walked to the front door, unlocked it quietly. The house was silent. Then I heard it. Upstairs, sounds, movement. My bedroom. I walked up the stairs. Each step felt like it took forever. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I reached the bedroom door. It was cracked open. I pushed it. And there they were, my wife, my boss, in my bed. They didn't notice me at first, too distracted. Then Richard turned his head, saw me standing there, and he smiled. Not a nervous smile, not an apologetic smile, a smug smile like he'd won something. Jessica screamed, pulled the sheets up, started saying my name. I didn't move. Didn't say anything, just looked at Richard. At that smile. Then I stepped back, closed the door, walked downstairs, grabbed my keys, got in my car, drove to a parking lot, sat there. I didn't cry, didn't punch the steering wheel. Didn't call anyone, I just sat there, thinking that smile, that fucking smile. He thought he'd broken me. But he was wrong. I didn't say a word. That's when I knew I'd already won. I came back home an hour later. Jessica was downstairs. Fully dressed, makeup smeared, eyes red. She saw me walk in, started talking immediately. It's not what you think, it just happened. I'm so sorry, please, we can work through this. I walked past her, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. She kept talking, making excuses, crying, begging. I didn't look at her. Finally, I spoke. I need to think, don't talk to me right now. She nodded, went quiet, probably thought I was processing, that I'd eventually forgive her. She had no idea what I was actually doing. I was planning. The next morning, I went to work. Same time, same routine, walked into the office like nothing had happened. Richard was at the coffee machine, saw me coming. I watched his face. He was expecting something, a confrontation, a punch, tears. Instead, I just nodded. Morning, Richard. He looked confused for a second, then that smug smile came back. Morning, Marcus. He thought I was weak, broken. Too scared to stand up to him. I let him think that. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the role perfectly. At work, I was the model employee. Quiet, efficient, respectful. At home, I was cold but civil, slept in the guest room. Barely spoke to Jessica. She thought I was shutting down, processing the betrayal. Richard thought I was pathetic, probably laughed about it with her. But the whole time I was watching. I installed a voice-activated recorder in our bedroom. Caught every phone call, every whispered conversation. I checked Jessica's phone while she slept. Took screenshots of their messages, hundreds of them, planning their next meeting, laughing about me, talking about their future together. Every message was evidence. Every call was ammunition. They thought I was invisible, beaten. Done. I became a ghost in my own life, but ghosts see everything. 3 weeks passed. I stayed late at work every night. Couldn't stand being home. It was a Thursday, almost 8 p.m. The office was empty. Everyone had gone home. I was finishing a report when I noticed something. Richard's office door, it was open, lights still on. He'd left in a hurry that afternoon. Probably meeting Jessica somewhere. I stood up, walked over just to close the door. That's when I saw it. His computer, still on, still logged in. I should have walked away, closed the door, gone home. But something told me to look. I stepped inside. Closed the door behind me, sat down at his desk, moved the mouse. His email was open, financial reports, budget spreadsheets. I started clicking through folders, not sure what I was looking for. Then I saw it. A folder labeled AP Consulting. I opened it. Inside were dozens of invoices, payments, wire transfers, all going to a company called Apex Consulting Group. I'd never heard of them. I opened another file, bank statements. Routing numbers, then I cross-referenced the company name in our vendor database. Nothing. Apex Consulting didn't exist. I kept digging, found more invoices dating back 2 years. 5,000 here, 8,000 there, 12,000. 15 all approved by Richard, all paid out of company funds, all going to an account I traced back to a shell corporation, owned by Richard. I sat back, stared at the screen. He wasn't just sleeping with my wife. He was stealing from the company. I did the math. Over $180,000, gone, funneled into his personal accounts. Fake invoices, fake vendors, real money. This wasn't just an affair anymore. This was embezzlement, wire fraud. Federal crimes. I pulled out a flash drive, started copying everything. Every invoice, every email, every bank statement, every wire transfer receipt. It took 20 minutes. My hands were shaking the whole time. When it finished, I ejected the drive, put it in my pocket, closed everything exactly how I found it, logged out, turned off the monitor, walked out of his office, closed the door, went back to my desk, sat down, and I smiled. For the first time in 3 weeks, I smiled because I realized something. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice. I didn't want to hurt him. I wanted to erase him. I spent the next week preparing. Bought a cheap laptop from a pawn shop. Cash, no receipt. Downloaded a VPN, Tor browser, created an anonymous Proton Mail account. No name, no trace, just a string of random numbers. I organized everything. Created a master file. 173 pages of evidence. Invoices, bank statements, wire transfers, email threads, everything time-stamped, everything documented. Then on a Sunday night, I drove to a public library 3 towns over, used their Wi-Fi, logged into my anonymous email, and I sent it to the CEO, to the board of directors, to the company's legal team, to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, to the IRS. Subject line, Richard Chen, evidence of embezzlement and wire fraud. Body of the email, just 2 sentences. Richard Chen has been defrauding the company for over 2 years. All evidence is attached. I hit send, closed the laptop, drove home. That was Sunday at 9 p.m. By Monday at 10 a.m., everything exploded. I was at my desk when I saw them, 2 men in suits, FBI badges on their belts. They walked straight to the executive floor. People started whispering, phones buzzing. 30 minutes later, Richard's door opened. He came out, face pale, 2 agents behind him. Our head of security was there too, holding a cardboard box. Richard was told to pack his belongings. No computer, no files, just personal items. People were watching from their desks. Nobody said anything. Richard grabbed a picture frame, a coffee mug, his jacket. Then security walked him to the elevator. As he passed my desk, he looked at me. His eyes were desperate, pleading, looking for something, sympathy, help, anything. I stared back, blank expression, said nothing. The elevator doors closed. That was the last time I saw him in that building. By noon, the news broke. Internal company-wide email. Richard Chen suspended pending investigation. By 3 p.m., it was on the local news. Tech executive under federal investigation for embezzlement. By 5 p.m., my phone rang. Jessica, I looked at the screen, let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times, voicemail. She called again. I watched it ring. Then I blocked the number. The trial took 6 months. Richard hired the best lawyers he could afford, fought every charge, but the evidence was overwhelming. Every invoice, every transfer, every lie, all documented. His lawyers advised him to take a plea deal. He refused at first, thought he could win, thought he could talk his way out. Then the prosecution showed him what they had. He took the deal, pled guilty to wire fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. No parole for the first 5, ordered to pay back every dollar. $183,000 plus penalties plus interest. They took his house, his cars, his retirement accounts, everything. His wife divorced him before sentencing. Took what little was left. The man who drove a Porsche now wore an orange jumpsuit. The man who smirked in my bedroom now had a prison ID number. As for Jessica, I filed for divorce 2 weeks after Richard's arrest. She tried to fight it, wanted alimony, wanted the house, wanted half of everything. My lawyer showed the judge the affair evidence. Text messages, photos, timelines, she got nothing. State law doesn't favor cheaters. No alimony, no house. No savings. She moved back in with her parents, 35 years old, sleeping in her childhood bedroom. She tried contacting Richard in prison, wrote him letters, he never responded. Blamed her for everything, said she distracted him. Ruined his focus. She lost her husband, lost her lover, lost her dignity, all in 6 months. As for me, 2 months after Richard's arrest, the CEO called me into his office. We need someone to fill the VP of Finance position, he said. Someone we can trust, someone who knows the systems, someone clean. He offered me the job, Richard's job, same office, same salary, same view. I accepted. They announced it company-wide the next day. I moved into the corner office that Friday, sat in the leather chair. The one Richard used to sit in, looked out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the Houston skyline, the same view he had. The same desk, the same title, everything he worked for, everything he stole for, everything he destroyed his life for. Now it was mine, I didn't steal it, I didn't cheat for it, I earned it. By doing the right thing, I sit in his chair now. I look out his window, and sometimes I wonder if he knows it was me. God, I hope he does. People ask me if I feel guilty. I don't. Richard made his choices. Jessica made hers. I just made sure they faced the consequences. Some people call it revenge. I call it accountability. I didn't break any laws. I just enforced them. They thought I was weak because I didn't yell, didn't fight, didn't make a scene, but that's where they were wrong. The most dangerous person in the room isn't the one who's loud. It's the one who stays quiet, because silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Richard smiled at me that day, in my bedroom, in my bed. He thought he'd won. But winners don't go to prison. Winners don't lose everything. I do. So here's my question for you. Did I go too far, or did they get exactly what they deserved? Drop a comment. Tell me if I'm the hero or the villain. I want to know what you think. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button. Because next week I've got something even crazier. A man won the lottery, $3 million. But he hid the ticket from his greedy family. What happened next will shock you. This is Real Revenge Stories, and we're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and remember, never underestimate the quiet ones. Yakai's Ha.